Welcome everyone to this week's episode of Unrooted Women's Volleyball Edition, and my guest for this week's show is none other than assistant coach on the women's volleyball team here at Menlo College, Bailey Gamez. Bailey, thanks so much for joining me on the show.
Thanks for having me back again.
You're very welcome. So let's start by talking a little bit about the transition and why you're here again. Yes, you are no longer a player. Your 4 years as a student are done, but someone still decided to choose you for Unrooted this week.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kenzie Carpenter. So I'm sure it was a transition going from four-year player to assistant coach. How did you navigate through that transition, and who really helped you along your way?
Luckily, like the whole staff here at Menlo kind of helped me transition and what needed to be done to kind of separate myself a little more from being, their teammate. Not, now it's been over a year, but then to like transition to more of their coach who's giving structured feedback and everything. At first, I was nervous. Me and Denise were just like joking, like, "Oh, you're gonna come back and you're gonna be the assistant coach," and it didn't really dawn on me until I was like, if you're serious, like, we can talk about it. So we did, and in May, we finalized it all, and then we didn't tell the girls until a couple weeks after I was like officially through, the paperwork and everything. And one coach, Keith Lambert, came up to me. He's like, just start it early, like separate yourself early, so they know, you're trying to do a good job for them, and you're trying to be the best coach that you can. So the staff for sure has helped me. Denise has been a huge part in making my position successful.
And you were always viewed as the mama bear on the Menlo College team. So what goes into turning another player into the mama bear role that you held down for 4 years?
Oh man, I think it definitely goes with your personality and like what you want for the team, and just kind of stepping into that role. It definitely, Jaden has been doing a good job too. I know Kenzie talked about her being like the cub and everything. Just stepping into the role of like looking out for each other. And I think as a whole, our team does a good job of, our leadership crew and non-leadership crew does a good job of looking out for each other and making sure everyone has everything they need to be successful on and off the court. We do support partners each week, so that brings like another mama bear role into where they're supporting each other in different ways and having more one-on-one support than as a whole. So, for me, it just came natural, but for others, it's just kind of stepping up and just, doing their own type of mama bear thing for the team. Yeah.
All right, Bailey, let's talk a little bit about the team now. Last week, the Oaks went on the road and fell to a pair of ranked teams, the Masters University and Westmont. While those results were losses, how do you think the team fared against two of the best teams, not only in the conference, but also in the nation?
Yeah, well, Masters is now, they're 7-0, and, Westmont's had their struggles this year, but they're still ranked. No matter the results, I think there was a lot of great things that did happen this weekend. We played a lot of great volleyball. It just, faltered with making more errors than the other teams. It's always hard to like lose, especially to ranked teams, but the drive to want to get out there and win was always there. And I don't think at once they ever shut down and didn't compete at a high level. Even when they were down, they still fought back to try to get as close as they could to finishing. So, yes, it sucks, but I do think that there was a lot of great things that did come out of this weekend and a lot of, learning points that will help us later on in the season and also this week with games. Yeah.
One of those great things was Menlo taking a set from Westmont College for the 4th consecutive meeting. First time in program history the Oaks have ever done that. Do you feel like Menlo's getting really, really close to finally breaking one off from the Warriors and ending the losing streak?
I do. We always say that any team is beatable, and so I think to show that 4 times now we've taken a set off of them, it's it's getting closer to like we can take the whole game in a sense, and that goes with any team, not just Westmont. But I think just knowing that it's possible, like it's not a fluke that happened, like you worked hard to make that possible, is eye-opening, and it'll help them be like, okay, like hey, this is what we did last time. The next time they're coming to us, they'll be at home when we play them, so why not challenge them? Because we always go in saying we have nothing to lose, we have everything to gain. So I think having that mentality and just going in strong and confident is a huge thing. So I do think we're getting closer to taking it from them.
Last week's matches saw the return of Kenzie Carpenter healthy to the floor for the Oaks coming off the bench. How important is it to have her back healthy and producing at a high level like she was to begin the year?
Yeah, of course we never want anyone to be injured, especially a senior. Kenzie brings this unique kind of aspect to the court. She goes in swinging. I always say she's like a wizard because some of the balls I feel like she's never going to get, she goes and attacks them, and it's a kill every time. And she has a very strong block. So having her back on the court producing in that way is huge for us. All of our players have been, are all big producers and huge on the court as well. But, you know, she brings this other aspect back to the court that just kind of is like a light, and she, you know, becomes an outlet, and when we're in trouble, you know they can turn to Kenzie in a way.
Now, another conference weekend on the road coming up for the Oaks. You go down to SoCal, take on Life Pacific and Hope International. How is playing a team for the second time different than going through the first time? Because now you're playing all those teams in the GSAC one more time.
Yeah. I think at the beginning you don't know what to expect, really. Like, you can watch film and everything, you can have an idea, you can hear what other coaches said, but for the second time around, like, you know, you've played them once, you have footage, you have stats on who, you know, did it best for them, you know, who was their star hitter, who had the best serves. So I think going into this next second half of conference, we know, like, who to look out for more on the team, like, who is their top hitters, who do we have to stop more. And as our conference goes, it's anyone's game. You know, every week there's someone new beating someone that, like, it was like, holy cow. So I think going into the second half, we know that anything's possible. So just going in hard and strong, and just knowing that we're here to battle too and win and go to the GSAC tournament.
All right, Bailey, let's get into the final segment of the show. It's called Brownie Bites. I'm going to ask you 3 off-the-wall questions. Give me your best answers. Question number 1. No one on the team is afraid of mama bears, but who is the most afraid of actual bears?
Oh, man. Our team freaks out a little bit about that stuff in general, but probably Maggie McDonald or Emily Sonata could be afraid of bears in that aspect. If we were camping and a bear just randomly showed up, they would run right to the car somewhere random.
Aren't you not supposed to run?
You're not, but knowing our girls, we would just bolt for the door.
Maggie and Emily, now you know, don't run away from bears, especially not Bailey Gamez, the mama bear. Question number 2, which athlete is most likely to lose the now famous blue rubber chicken?
Nicole DiMartino.
Really?
For sure. I feel like if she had it and then all of a sudden she would just place it down, it would say we were at a match and she'd put on the chair, she would probably forget it there, and it'd just be sitting there chilling, wondering where his friends went.
Did we ever come up with a name for the rubber chicken?
I think we're just sticking with the chicken. I think the chicken has been established for it.
Okay, fair enough. As long as you're consistent with it.
No, it's either the chicken or chicken. It's never like anything.
The chicken.
We've thought about it.
Chicken, yeah.
I'm like, come up with a different name. We could make it Instagram. We can make it famous.
That's not going to happen, though?
Well, we're working on it.
Okay, I was going to say, it was a discussion last week.
It was, yes. No, we're working on it. They're in charge of it, so we're making it happen.
All right. And then question number 3, if you had one extra ticket to Disneyland, who is going to beg you for it the most?
It has to be between, like, Jaden and Janae. Because this past weekend when we were driving by Magic Mountain, they both told me to, like, Bailey, what are you doing? You missed your exit to Magic Mountain. I said, we're not going there. She goes, please, like, can we just real fast, like, detour? So it's either Jaden or Janae. It's whoever would want it more at the time. I
mean, Magic Mountain is a pretty incredible place, so that I don't blame them for that. Has Janae been to Disneyland, do you know?
I'm actually not sure.
I mean, being from Texas, it's not exactly a hop and a skip away. You probably have to fly to go to Disneyland.
Definitely. So I feel like, if anything, she would beg me the most. I mean, they got to see Magic Mountain when we'd leave our hotel, so it was like you still got the view. You just didn't get the experience.
You saw it, but you didn't go. I mean, come on. Like, sure, you could drive. You could fly over the Grand Canyon, but that would actually be really cool, so never mind.
It's not an experience, though.
But it's not an experience because you weren't
physically there.
You were not there, so you still really haven't seen it. So
I think it just depends on, in the moment, who would want it more.
All right. Bailey, thanks for joining me on the show.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome, folks. The women's volleyball team on the road in Southern California this weekend. They go down south to take on Life Pacific College and Hope International University. They're going back through the GSAC once again, so the next time you'll see them here at Menlo the following weekend, which is the 13th and the 14th, Menlo College is taking on Vanguard. That's the first home contest. That is on Friday night, and that should be one you'll want to get out to Haynes Prim Pavilion and watch. We invite you to tune into next week's episode of Unrooted Women's Volleyball Edition, when Bailey Gamez will select the next interviewee by me, Brian Brownfield, right here on the show. Until then, we'll see you next week. Take care, everyone.
See ya.